Let's talk about the absurdity that is Hollywood and California and Alec Baldwin.
Oh boy.
We got the story from Timcast.com. Cinematographer's family files wrongful death suit against Alec Baldwin. The Santa Fe Sheriff's Office is still investigating the October 2021 on-set fatality. But we have this story from the New York Post. Alec Baldwin sued by the family of Helena Hutchins. They've released a video. It's kind of creepy. It is a CGI video. I can only show some of it because YouTube actually will probably shut us down if I show you, even though it's like simulated. Whatever, man. It is what it is. But I can play a decent amount of it. So let's play some of this video. So this is important in understanding the story about Alec Baldwin and the shooting of Helena Hutchins. Let me slow down and preface this real quick for those that are not familiar with exactly what this is. Alec Baldwin was on the filming set of a movie called Rust. He shot a cinematographer. At first, it was declared a misfire. It was an accident. We started to get more and more details, and it turns out that based on the news and the information that came out, it sounds much more like Alec Baldwin intentionally murdered this woman. At least a lot of people refuse to believe it. I certainly think it's more probable than an accident because Alec Baldwin had a single action revolver. You had to pull the hammer back. You had to pull the trigger to fire it. It was loaded with live rounds. It was given to him by someone who was not the on-set armorer. We had Nick Searcy on the show who had worked with that armorer before and said she was great. So all of this just keeps coming back to there's no way there's an accident. But let me give you that one very, very important detail before I show you this clip. Alec Baldwin claims that after he shot this woman, he didn't know she was hit for 45 minutes. If you're standing in front of someone and you point a gun at them, pull the hammer back, pull the trigger. He claims he didn't pull the trigger. But you pull the hammer back and it goes off. And then they go, and they collapse and two people fall down. What do? Did Alec Baldwin just go, all right, and walk away?
Apparently.
Cut.
Yep.
Walk away.
All right, everybody. And they're screaming. People are screaming. She's dying. And he's just like, I didn't see anything.
Bye.
Man, that cinematographer acts good.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He thought she was acting.
Are they filming her? Is she part of this? So here's let me play this clip now to show you some of the context around here. So here's the building. The reason why I think this is important to go through is because a lot of people are trying to imagine in their head what it was like when this woman was shot. And you can see here, it's all CGI, by the way. This is what the building looks like. All right, let's play a little bit because now they're going to take us inside the building. It's only about a minute long, this video. All right, so there's the building. We are now going inside. Oh, I think was that actually a photograph? Hold on.
Oh, cool.
The first was.
So this is an actual
switches.
Nice.
Right.
Cool, yeah.
Is that it looks,
probably.
and then it switches to
Right.
CGI.
There you go.
Really
All right,
well
then
done.
we go inside, and this is what it looks like. Inside this church on the set of this film, Alec Baldwin is handed the gun by the, I guess, associate director.
Assistant director.
Assistant director. And then he sits down. He's got the gun in his holster, and there he is. And I think now they're going to pan around, and you can now see they're showing you where the cinematographer was and where the other director, right?
Yeah.
And the camera.
And I don't know who those other two people are. They weren't named.
Mm-hmm.
Crew, yeah.
So here's what's interesting. I didn't realize this. How far away he was from her and the crowd, and that he pointed the gun straight at her and not the camera. Because when we had first talked about the story, I was like, why would he point the gun straight at the camera?
Mm-hmm.
And people were like, oh, maybe it was to get that shot or whatever. She's off to his left of the camera. He points it straight at her and he fires and he killed her.
He definitely killed her.
So you were arguing with me about this initially. Like, you can't say he killed her.
Well, I don't know if I would call it murder. The intention is unknown. He definitely pointed the gun at the woman, pulled the trigger, and killed her. Whether or not he intended to, I don't know. But I don't think that really is what this is all about right now. I mean,
look,
that's up for the courts to decide.
Let me show you this clip. All right, we're not going to actually show it because YouTube would get mad at us. But look
at that, 5 feet away from her, or whatever it was.
And then he pulls the hammer back and he shoots her.
Wow.
Now, here's the thing. I'm going to skip over the part where she actually gets hit because that's, and you can see people rushing over to help her. And again, CGI rendering of what happened. This is not actual video evidence. Where did Alec Baldwin go? There's no other exit to this building.
Ditched out.
And he said for 45 minutes he didn't know that she got shot with a real bullet. So he's like, I thought she fainted or something. Bro,
No.
if you point a gun at someone and you pull the hammer back and it goes bang and then someone screams and collapses, why would you assume they must have fainted?
He's a weak mind,
Bro,
and he wasn't
you
able
point-
to accept what just
No,
happened to him. He
no,
panicked.
dude.
It was like shock. It's like what
Had
happens when
to
a
have
soldier
been.
goes crazy in the
No.
trench. He knew he killed her. He was just shocked.
No, Ian, you might as well believe in aliens.
Or he's just blatantly lying.
You might as well believe, if you're going to tell me that Alec Baldwin pointed a gun at a person from like 5 feet away, pulled the hammer back, it went off in his hand, he felt the recoil. The recoil of a live round is different from the recoil of a blank. And then the woman screams, and the guy behind her screams as well, at least they do in this video. And then people run over to help, and he goes, must have fainted, and then gets up and walks off. Sorry, I would rather believe that aliens took over his mind or the mind control device. That seems more plausible to me than he was like, I didn't realize I had just shot them when I pointed a gun and pulled the hammer back and it fired. Nah, he knew what he did. That's why I keep hearing the story and I'm like, why would you assume anything other than he put a bullet in the gun and he shot her?
Who put the bullet in the gun? That one I wonder.
Hold on, bro. If you're going to tell me that it was the assistant director or someone else who put the bullet in the gun, Alec Baldwin feeling the recoil of that live bullet, having trained with firearms, would have been like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
And then when she collapsed and screamed, he would have been like, what happened?
Except he knew my life is over, my career is over. And it all went through his head immediately when he pulled the trigger and was like, it's too much for my brain. I mean, that's a possibility.
That's
I don't
insane,
know
dude.
if that really happened.
No.
People are weak, man. People go crazy.
No.
in
What you
stress
don't
sometimes.
understand is when someone is in a shocked moment, they don't have complicated thoughts. They have panicked thoughts. And if Alec Baldwin... So, you guys ever see Sherlock Holmes? You ever see a Game of Shadows?
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr.?
No.
So good. I love it. So they're trying to find out. There's a guy who's got surgery to look like an ambassador. He's trying to trigger a world war. And so, he's with Watson and Watson's in the room and they're like, how do we find someone who's pretending to be someone else? And then Sherlock says, or I think it's Watson who's like, yeah, Sherlock's playing chess with Moriarty. And Watson's like, do something shocking because they're trying so hard to maintain a facade, they won't react properly to a shock. And so what he does is he smacks the tray with champagne on it. The champagne shatters and everyone in the room goes, oh! But the one guy in disguise doesn't flinch because in his mind, he's desperately trying to maintain his persona. So when the shock happens, he doesn't respond properly like everybody else. So that's when I hear this story, when Alec Baldwin himself, he lied about everything. He was like, she was a friend. Then he said, I didn't know her. I never met her before. It's like, this guy's full of it. The idea that he pointed the gun, pulled the hammer back, it went off in his hand. First, I got so many questions. The recoil of a live bullet compared to the blank. He knew. He was holding it. It went off in his hand. The woman screams and falls down. It severed her spinal cord. And he's like, I didn't realize it happened. And what does he do? Get up and walk away?
Yeah, that's BS, bro. Listen,
dude, he did it.
I don't know if this is the same, but I watched Kyle Rittenhouse shoot somebody and kill them in self-defense. And I didn't pull that trigger, and that had an effect on me. Like, I will never forget that. I will never forget watching that. Like, the way that I saw it. Like, I watched life leave this guy's eyes, like, literally, like, on the floor. Like, so I just, like, when I hear, like, these gun stories, and I can't relate to this, like, police officers or people in the military that have actually shot people. I think that would be someone good to ask, But for me, like, I've watched that, and I don't see how Alec Baldwin could come out and just be like, "Oh, I thought she fainted." Like, dude, no, there's no way, bro. Like, even if you're in shock, like, because I'm gonna be honest, like, when I watched that dude get killed, I was kind of like in a state of shock. Like, I was still collected. I knew what was going on, but I was still kind of like, I put it on Twitter, and I'm like, I just saw that. Like, I just saw that. Like, it was just like in my mind. Like, it couldn't leave my mind. Like, I just don't see how you could like shoot somebody and just and then go directly to, I just thought she fainted.
There's an indescribable feeling that I've talked about before when I see people who get mutilated or killed. And I don't have a word for it. I can't even really describe it. It's a weird feeling. I've seen a guy whose legs were turned to, I know. I'm thinking the same thing. I'm not going to get into it too much detail, but I've seen severe injuries, mutilation, and death. Mm-hmm. And there is a feeling that you get watching a body be carried away. Maybe it's just me. Maybe not everybody experiences it.
No, it's definitely not just you.
No, I know. And, I wonder if there would be a word for the feeling you get when you watch this, if more people had the shared experience of witnessing something like that.
Exorcism. I don't know.
But because
it's like the opposite of an exorcism.
Because most people don't actually experience
Possession.
that, there's no way to explain that word to someone who's never experienced that feeling. When I hear that Alec Baldwin pulled out a gun and it went off and shot and killed a woman, and that he just assumed she fainted, I'm like, this man is a liar and knew exactly what he did. Because, you know what? I'll put it this way. There's a video on Reddit right now. I love saying I'm on Reddit, right? And it's a little girl, and she's got a gun, and she's playing with it. And she puts the magazine in, and she pulls it back and chambers around. And then she's going like, ooh, and she's like playing with the trigger and laughing. And then she releases the magazine and smiles and laughs, and then bang, it goes off. Because there was a round in the chamber, and she goes, starts freaking out. When a live round is discharged from a gun, you don't just get up and go, must have fainted, and walk off.
Yeah.
You start freaking out.
The weird part is in this video, the after he fires, the video goes dark and then comes back up, and Alec's not there. Like, what happened? He must have just got up and walked out then.
Apparently, that's what happened.
And he was on the phone?
Yeah,
immediately?
He left and he got on the phone, and he said, he's lying about all of it is the problem. He said, I didn't realize she got hit with a live bullet for 45 minutes. I thought she fainted. Something like that.
But what's bothering me so much about this whole story is motive.
Yeah,
What's the possible motive here?
What do you mean?
What's the motive for him shooting her?
The crew had been complaining the whole time. They had threatened to walk off set before. Alec Baldwin is a hothead who's gotten into fights with people in the past. I think he just settled a lawsuit. I could be wrong about that. And here he is. I think Viva Frei had a really great explanation about this. He was like, imagine you're Alec Baldwin, seasoned, famous, A-lister, wealthy, on a low-budget production. The industry is in distress. You've got COVID and all these rules. The crew is complaining nonstop. They're threatening to walk off. Then you get the cinematographer who's telling you what to do, but this is not the director. You don't take orders from her, but she won't stop nagging. See, Alec Baldwin said she was, what do you call her? Very like direct or something.
Yeah.
He wasn't saying about her that she was a friend and nice to work with. He said she was like forceful effectively. I think the motive is simple. He was pissed off. She was causing problems. She was jamming up the set. And the perfect opportunity to murder someone is in a movie set where you're supposed to have a gun. But hold on a minute. In this lawsuit, they're like, why wasn't he using a rubber gun? Why did he have a live single action revolver with real ammo in it, with a real bullet at least, when they were doing, it was like test filming. None of it makes sense. Unless, of course, Alec Baldwin was like, I am sick of this woman. She is causing problems for my movie set. And the easiest way to kill somebody is to say it's an on-set accident. Bang. None of his story makes sense. And I'll tell you this, I'd be willing to believe there was a conspiracy to commit murder between him and the assistant director before I believed this was an accident. For this to have been an accident, you have to believe in magical fairy tales. That the armorer, who Alec Baldwin knows is supposed to be the only one handling the weapon, didn't do it. That somehow live bullets got into it. That somehow Alec Baldwin forgot all of his training. That somehow Alec Baldwin, with a single action revolver, pulled the trigger back, and with his finger out of not on the trigger, it went off because that was testified to by the assistant director. So now you've got a broken sear on a single action revolver that he pulled the hammer back. His finger was off the trigger. It went off. He didn't realize a bullet was in it, despite 40 years plus of weapons training against someone he had every reason to be upset with. Nah, dude, get out of here with that. You know, I've been saying this from the beginning. I think he killed that woman. I'll rephrase that. I think it is substantially more likely he killed this woman on purpose than he killed her on accident. Suffice to say, he did kill her.
Yeah, negligent homicide, I think at the very least. I have a very similar take on yours, except that I think he was just very angry with her and didn't like her and was fantasizing about killing her, and there happened to be a bullet in the gun.
That's ridiculous.
It just doesn't make sense that he would throw everything away just to try and sneak a death.
No, he's not throwing it away. Look at this. He's not even going to be.
It destroyed his career. It destroyed his life, dude. This has destroyed his life.
But yeah, under your scenario, he's such a psychopath, like a total psychopath, that he didn't run even the most minimal cost-benefit analysis for what he was about to do.
He's a hothead.
No, not a hothead. Like, anybody can be a little bit of a hothead. This guy must be a psychopath to make that absolutely poor cost-benefit analysis.
Or there was a potential for a lawsuit that was going to cost him more money.
So he shot her? I don't know. It still doesn't add up for me. I don't know.
That's true. I mean, he's getting sued now by several people.
I'm glad that it's going to court, and I hope that in
criminal charges?
Yeah.
We don't look.
They are.
I'll tell you this.
There are criminal charges?
No.
This is the first I've heard of it. I don't think so. This is a civil case right now.
There's no criminal charges.
Oh, I see.
Right.
Not yet.
I'm asking.
Oh, yeah.
The point is, you're saying it's going to court. I'm saying you're saying it was a miscalculation. What do you mean? If he walked out up to this woman in the middle of New York Avenue and pulled out a gun and shot her, he'd be in prison.
Yeah, what if
right
two
now.
18-year-olds are sitting there, one picks up a gun and points it at the other one and shoots him and kills him, and is like, I didn't know there was a bullet in it. Like,
We were acting for a movie. They'd be like, shut up, you're under arrest.
yeah, if they had a camera on and
Yeah.
they thought they were acting.
And then Alec Baldwin doesn't turn his
And
phone over for how long?
That's kind of where I'm thinking is like, is it really far fetched to believe that Alec Baldwin, like, believes that he's above all of this?
Yeah.
It's not far-fetched. I think he does.
You
think
see what I'm
that.
saying? Do we really sound crazy saying, I think Alec Baldwin thinks he could publicly get away with
Oh,
murder?
you saw the sympathy crap videos he put out in the weeks following.
Look, let me just say, there's a potential for a motive in that we've heard that people were walking off set, that people were complaining, that she was part of the crew and the crew was really, really upset. And it's frustrating for this guy who thinks he's so big and he's an A-lister. She's not the director, but she's giving him orders and telling him what to do, and he's getting frustrated. Those make sense. But the reality is, there could be an infinite number of reasons for motive. Maybe he had an affair with her. Oh no, Hilaria's going to find out. Maybe something like it could be as simple as that. We don't know. The fact is, the story of how this went down, you'd have to be an absolute moron to believe the way they've described it. He was accidentally given the gun by the wrong person, even though he knows and has stated already in interviews it has to come from the armorer, but he let it come from the other guy instead. And then he took the gun, didn't check it, even though he knows you're supposed to check the gun. It's supposed to be displayed for you. He's stated all of those things. He's the one who said, you're handed a gun and they open it up, they explain it to you. And then, if you fiddle with it in any way, so they're like, why didn't you check it? Well, if I did check it, they'd take it away from me. That makes no sense. What? Like, it's an obvious lie. But let me just make it simple for everybody. Go out to a shooting range, all right? Talk to an instructor. Have them teach you and bring some blanks and fire a blank and then fire, what was the caliber of the gun? Wasn't a 45, was it?
I don't know.
I don't know what it was.
I don't recall.
But just
Get a difference of the blank and the real bullet, the feel.
you're going to be like, wow, this one's obviously the blank and this one's obviously the real gun.
So I do
the real
think it
bullet.
was a murder just because he just shot her and apparently had good enough aim, because we just saw in Louisville, how it's pronounced, this guy
Louisville.
he attempted to shoot somebody really close range and still ended up missing him. For Alec Baldwin to hit this lady dead to rights, that looks
Right?
incredibly intentional.
And think about it. It was straight in the center of her
Yeah,
chest so that it hit her
dude.
spine, too.
Yeah, that's intense.
And went
Same.
through and hit
Let's-
the
let-
director.
Yeah, he shot
Let's-
two people.
Yeah.
No, but check this out. It went straight through the center of her chest and through her spine.
That's spot on.
So this
Center
is
mass.
we're talking about winning a lot, like winning 3 lotteries in a row, week
Yeah.
after week after week. That he had the wrong gun, he wasn't supposed to be using, that he wasn't supposed to point it at her, that there wasn't supposed to be a bullet in it, that his finger was off the trigger and he pulled the hammer back, but the hammer went off anyway, and then the bullet, it missed, but it went perfectly into the center of her chest and ripped her
way.
spine apart. Then he said, I didn't realize I hit her, and got up and walks away.
BS.
Yeah, get out of here, man. People, no, I'm not playing that game. He did it. He murdered her. It was on purpose. That's my opinion. That is my opinion.
What?
based on all
So
the
if her
details.
family now, is it up to them to press charges?
They have. Yeah, that was the
they're
basis
doing.
of the lawsuit.
Not the
no,
civil
no.
charges, though. I mean, like criminal charges. Who
State-
files that?
the state does.
And what are they? So you think they're waiting on it because Alec Baldwin's Alec Baldwin?
So as everyone's already predicted, Alec Baldwin will pay some fat settlement and he'll never see a day in jail. That's the way it works in this country.
Well, I think that then his motivation for thinking that he could do it and get away with it was entirely correct.
This is
And that would
valid.
be perfect motivation to do that. If you got sick of somebody, you're like, boy, I think I can get away with this. Watch me.
Oh, I got an
bet
idea
can
for a
do
movie.
it."
Rust 2. The making of Rust.
Oh my God.
I'm sure that's coming. He'll be the victim of
That's
the movie.
You know, I
Brutal.
got to be honest. I'd love to make a really, really a sketch, a really great movie trailer sketch in bad taste about this.
This whole thing.
Rust 2, the making of Rust.
Yeah,
movie trailer.
I have no sympathy for this. Her family right now. If they're not following through, taking this guy down and his entire production crew.
They're suing him.
I mean, taking him down. He has tons of money. He'll pay it out.
What
Affluence is-
do you think what do you think they're going to do?
Put him in prison for 30 years.
They don't do that. The state does.
Put him in
this.
prison for a year.
Ian,
Judge
the
Ian.
state
Yes.
does this.
Yeah, but I mean, where's the pressure from the family? Where's the guy standing up
Oh,
and
you
saying
know-
he just belongs in jail? He killed my wife.
He's thinking, I'd rather just get the $60 million.
He should get both. It's up to him what he wants.
It's not going to come from the family to get legal criminal justice. The state decides. People need to understand this. I don't know if it's true for every state. I think it is. There have been so many instances where someone will file charges, like they'll get attacked, and then the police will arrest a person, and they'll file charges against the person who got arrested, and then the other person says, "I don't want to press charges. I want to withdraw," and the cops will be like, "You aren't pressing charges. We are. It's the state versus Mr. Smith, not Jane Doe versus John Doe. We don't need you as a witness because we already have your medical records showing the attack occurred. Bye-bye." So it doesn't matter what the individuals want. But typically when someone refuses to press charges, if they say, "I don't want to press charges," what they're really saying is, "I'm not going to be a cooperating witness for the state," and the state will likely lose then. And so then the state says, "Okay, get out of here. We're not going to move forward. There's no complaint." And not to mention that, like, do you really want to be a prosecutor who's like, "I've got no witness, no victim, so it's just conjecture, and I'd rather not file the paperwork," to be completely honest, right? That's probably what's going to happen. It's
this
a lot
state,
of work, go to court.
They've got a lot of eyewitnesses. I can't imagine none of them would testify.
Considering all of the different lawsuits against Alec Baldwin and his company, you'd think there'd be criminal charges against him instantly for doing this. Like, I don't care what the reason is, but this is what I'm saying. It's why I think one of the things about this is a perfect crime. Alec Baldwin wants to kill someone, do it on a movie set. You'll never see it. You'll never see a day in jail.
Rust 2, The Perfect Crime.
Yes.
I like that. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
We got to make that happen.
Damn.
And then whenever we show Alec Baldwin, it should be like grainy black and white with like a thunderstorm behind him, and he's like,
Yeah, like a horror movie.
yeah, and then like,
Then it shows him again. He's real big, with the lightning striking behind him. He's like,
Yeah.
"Now's your time to die." No. Oops, it was an accident.
You know what? I will continue to mock this shooting until they file criminal charges against that guy.
Dude, it's so crazy, man. It's mainstream celebrity. It's political. It's the establishment. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. But I'm glad to see that club falling apart, to be honest. Yeah, maybe some things will change.
I want to talk about Roblox. Oh, what are you doing?
Well, no, we have this other story I'll just mention really, really quickly from BuzzFeed.
Oh.
A Rust crew member texted a warning about accidental gun discharges days before Alec Baldwin fatally shot Helena Hutchins.
Oh, man.
This is super unsafe. I mean, we knew the story, but now, the more I see this stuff, the more it just pushes me towards, I think they set this thing up. Like, Alec Baldwin's story is so half-brained and like insane and contradictory that I'm like, I see this and I'm just like, I don't believe any of them. I don't believe any of them, man. I think Alec Baldwin, so one thing I think we just heard recently with Nick Cersei though is they had A crew and B crew or something like that because of COVID rules.
A, B, and C.
Yeah. So you couldn't be in the same room depending on your crew code
Like
or whatever.
A could only be in the room with other A's, and B and C had to be out of the room.
That can explain why it was that the armorer wasn't the one who gave the weapon to Alec Baldwin.
That could.
But it doesn't explain why Alec Baldwin threw away his training, why he didn't realize he just shot and killed a person.
Good aim.
Shot dead center through the chest and through the spine. And he was like, "I thought she fainted," and just like walks away. It's like...
Yeah, those are the dead giveaways.
Plus, he was on the phone. No, he was on the phone right away, right?
Yeah.
So what, someone faints so you get on the phone right away with somebody?
I don't know
then
if
he
it was
didn't turn his
right
phone
away.
over.
How long? I don't know how long between the shooting and him on the phone. But I'm pretty sure there's pictures of him on the phone outside, like after it happened. I don't know if it was within a minute or within 20 minutes.
And then he didn't turn his phone over. He refused to turn his phone over.
Probably because of his conversation.
Didn't he eventually do it?
He did
exactly.
eventually. Yeah, it took a long
Exactly.
time. Why? Why did
Somebody
it
he
take a long time?
called, something he was setting up.
It has been done.
Yes.
The weaving of a
Control.
conspiracy is starting to make a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
I'm actually crying right now for the cameras. They're taking pictures of me as I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
Well, the conspiracy theory is that this Helena Hutchins woman was a journalist before she got involved in
saw
cinematography.
Yeah.
And she was doing these investigations. So the conspiracy theorists think that she was still actively investigating something and that she was taken out.
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know about any of that stuff,
That
man.
is interesting.
I think
It's
it's
enticing,
more,
though.
Yeah.
I think you got a story of a hothead movie star. He shoved a guy in the street and got sued over it. He screamed at his kid and called her a little pig or something like that, you
Yeah.
little pig. And so he's known for having a bad temper. We know the crew was fighting with him. He lied several times about his story. Isn't it just a simple solution that sometimes people commit murder?
Yeah.
That's it.
It's well, yeah, that is a simple solution. Applying it to this is a little more complicated because we don't know where the bullet came from. I want to know.
That's why I'm saying he committed a murder. It came from him. He got a bullet. He put it in the gun.
Yeah.
Why was he using a real gun?
That's the simplest solution.
Got to get the shot. And what I mean is the camera angle. It's got to look right on camera is what I meant by got to get the shot.
The lawsuit is flat out saying that they have prop guns for test filming, like actual replicas and rubber guns. Why was he using a real single action revolver with live ammo in it? Okay, maybe what happened was the assistant director hated Helena and set Alec up and broke the sear on purpose. The sear is the piece inside. It holds the hammer back. He broke it on purpose. And that's why he said Alec Baldwin's finger was off the trigger and he pulled the hammer back and it went off. On a functioning single action, that wouldn't happen. But maybe it was an old weapon and the sear had been worn down and wasn't working properly. So when he pulled the hammer back, it just released right away and slammed.
That's gross negligence by the production company if that's what the case was. They handing Alec a messed up gun is negligence.
No, what gets me is all the people on Twitter who defended Alec Baldwin when I was tweeting about it. And they're like, clearly you don't know anything about how movie sets work. And I'm like, I do. Whenever you hand someone a gun, it is the responsibility of the person holding the gun, period, no matter what, at all times. Don't care.
Yeah, and that brings me back to my question. If two 18-year-olds have a camera set up in their living room and one pulls up a gun and points it and shoots it, but there's a bullet in it, does that kid go to prison? Or guy,
Yes.
20-year-olds? Of course.
Yeah.
Just because there's a movie camera on, doesn't matter. He should have checked the gun.
Yep.
Right.
Should have done a lot of things. But here we are, man. I don't know. What a crazy story. Ian came in here and he was like, there's a video of it. And I was like, no. Because everybody was saying they filmed it, right? They filmed what happened.
Oh,
Why don't they
literally?
They're filming, right?
Well, they might have been between takes. I don't know if it was rolling. You guys got to watch this video, by the way.
It's not a real video.
No, it's a
This-
CGI.
Yeah.
And there's music, which is a little manipulative, makes it creepy. But just watching the flow of it just looks so blatant on Alec's part. Thoughtless and blatant.
I mean, the video they made shows Alec just sitting there and then he grabs the gun and goes bang and
I
shoots
mean,
her.
It might have been more than
Like
that.
Manchurian Candidate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lifeless eyes.
Yeah.
It's definitely computer.
It's pretty accurate on that front.
Pretty wild. Yeah.
It just shows him sitting there. It's like a perfect rendition of his face.
Yeah.
Perfectly calm. Looks like he's plotting something.
Yeah.
I think the story is important because it shows how people who are aligned with the establishment can just basically get away
It
with
shows how COVID restrictions can mess up a movie site, so you can't have your armor on set with your acting A team. Apparently, if that's possible, they have an A, B, and C team, which is completely unethical for someone to put those people in that position of danger where the armorer can't deliver the gun to the actor.
Yeah.
If that's the case, there's a lot of things that this is blown out of proportion, and that production company is liable for her death. For her,
Well, that's
for
why
her.
everybody's getting sued, but you can't squeeze blood out of a turnip. They were already on a low budget production, so I don't know what they're going to have left anyway. Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to watch live, you can check out this channel Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, and if you want more unfiltered and uncensored content with all of these guests, go to timcast.com and become a member. All of these guests you know and love in exclusive segments on our website where we are unrestricted in what we talk about, so you'll definitely not want to miss it. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all next time.